Hey, Presales Collective, it's your host, Maddie Strimick. And today I'll be joined by Akanksha Sehgal, who is the Director of Global Solution Engineering at VMware. 5 years ago, she raised her hand to build out the Solutions Academy program at VMware, which has not only helped with increasing diversity, but also increasing innovation and retention on her team. Stay tuned as Akanksha shares her tips and lessons learned over the last several years, and hopefully inspires you to create your own Solutions Academy. I hope you enjoy.
Hi there, my name is Yuji Higashi, co-founder of Presales Collective, and I have big news to share with you if you're a pre-sales leader or an individual contributor early in your career. We recently launched 2 training and enablement programs aimed at helping you take your career to the next level. Both programs were created by pre-sales leaders with input from dozens of SC veterans across our community. Now, we'll be running cohorts each month, so if you're interested in participating, visit us at presalescollective.com/enablement to submit an inquiry, and we'll send you details about each program, including this curriculum and schedule. We look forward to working with you on growing your career and being part of your career journey. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
Hi, Akanksha. Welcome to the Presales Podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, thank you for having me here.
We're so happy to have you on this podcast and get into the topic of building a Solutions Academy and really giving our listeners insight into the impact it's had at your organization with VMware. Now, would love to know more about your pre-sales journey, but before I do, is it okay if I throw a few questions your way that you haven't seen yet?
Absolutely, go for it.
Perfect. So I would love to know, would you rather get pulled into a very lengthy RFP or do a last minute demo with no prep time?
I would say last minute demo with no prep time. That sounds way more exciting.
I relate to not loving RFPs. All right, another scenario. Would you rather work with a difficult sales leader whose team closes deals left and right, or a very collaborative sales leader whose team struggles to close deals at all?
I would say both. Both sound like a really good challenge, but maybe the second one, a collaborative leader whose team is struggling to close deals, and see how I can support with that process and really work with them and coach them through that.
Absolutely. That collaboration, I feel like, makes all the difference. All right, last one. Are you ready for it?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Would you rather give a demo on a new product that you're still learning and you don't feel comfortable with yet, or join a call with an angry customer who doesn't want to renew?
Interesting. I would say the first one, a new product that I don't know a lot about, and that way I get to learn a lot.
That continuous learner in you coming out.
Yeah. And I'm loving these questions, Maddie.
I felt like this is a, fun way for our listeners to get to know you and, how you would deal with a few different scenarios. Going to the point of you being a continuous learner, Akanksha, I've just seen, and when we talked last and you sharing that you got a master's degree in engineering management. I was just looking at your profile and seeing even, leadership certification from Harvard. I mean, there's no doubt that you're a very continuous learner. So I'd love to know, how did that desire to learn and grow play a part in your pre-sales journey?
I would say it played a huge part in where I am today and my growth. And it's been a very humbling experience as well. So I started in pre-sales about a decade back. Back then, I was working for a startup, and I think that's where I really got to practice my love for curiosity and learning as well. Because being a startup, we did a little bit of everything: pre-sales, post-sales, supporting customers, all of it. And I started on a very small team of solution engineers. And from that, we experienced exponential growth and went on to become the market leaders in that space, really. I've always been a constant yes for new opportunities and for learning. And I think that's why I've gotten some of the opportunities and growth that I've experienced to this day. So it's played a big part.
Well, what an amazing opportunity. My background is also working with startups, and there's no doubt that being able to wear so many hats, plays such a big role in helping you grow and also finding, what kind of role works best for you, what makes you happy. So, as a female leader in pre-sales, what do you love the most about your role?
I would say what I love the most, especially as a female leader, is mentoring and coaching and bringing in other women into this industry, right? And getting to be a part in what the trajectory and the future of our solution engineering workforce really looks like. We recently started a mentorship group for our solution engineering women, where we've been able to have some very candid conversations about some of the challenges that we face, but also some of the things from building our brand to really investing in career development. And I would say that's one of the most gratifying parts that I've had as a female SE leader.
I love that you guys have a mentorship group. That's so important. Mentorship and sponsorship is really important when we think about diversity, especially getting women in leadership positions. With that passion for investing in others and coaching, I'm curious as to how that played a role in you all launching and you taking a big role in starting the Academy program at VMware.
So about 5 years back, our organization was going through a big pivot and change, not just on the technology stack, but also with our licensing model and business model and product portfolio. So as we were doing that, we realized that we need new talent and a brand new skill set because it's a new market for us. And while we could have just trained our existing SC team, it was a great opportunity to launch something brand new and really change what the future of our SE team looks like. That's why we started thinking of launching an academy program. And the way I got to be and was blessed to really be at the forefront of that is that I'm very passionate about coaching and people development. And I was asking for a new challenge, something that has never been done before. And this was it. I got the opportunity from my leadership to create something brand new and really get to define it. And it has been super fun to do that.
I want to take a deeper look into that conversation with leadership. Ultimately, how did you get buy-in to start something like this? Because I'm sure this has taken a lot of your time and a lot of energy and investment from many team members.
It definitely has. I would say it's taken a whole village to make this happen. And we had a lot of buy-in early on from our pre-sales engineering team, but it's also required us to work collaboratively with a lot of other teams that we had not thought of before, like human resources, to really define what a day in the life of an Academy SC looks like, working with our enablement team on what is the structured training path for these individuals, because it would be very different from the kind of training that we usually do for experienced SC hires, and also working with leadership, both on the sales and SC side on everything from compensation models to career growth to what segments will the Academy SC support. Will they interface with our existing sales and engineering team? So it required a lot of buy-in from a lot of different stakeholders. And it was a big collaborative effort. I would say it took a good 6 to 9 months of planning before our very first launch.
Well, as someone that is involved in a different type of pre-sales solutions academy and building curriculum and thinking through all the logistics of a program, it takes a lot of time and energy. I think one thing would be helpful for our listeners is just give an overview of the academy. What does that look like for, students that start at VMware Solutions Academy?
Absolutely. I would say that we've iterated or reiterated the program multiple times, right? So I know it sounds really daunting, especially for anyone out there that is looking to launch an academy program for their organization. But we've had a lot of lessons that we've learned over the years. So what it looks like now is that we have university hires that start with us, and it's usually mid-year, and a good 6 months from when they start. So the first 6 months is all focused on training. And it's not just role-based or product level training that they go through. It's everything from learning what is the role of a sales engineer and what does the customer lifecycle journey look like? What are all these other teams, professional services, customer success, GSS, how all these other teams play a big part in that customer lifecycle, and how does the SC interface with all these different teams to truly set up the customer for success? What are the customer buying personas? Everything from great demo training to value selling. And yes, the product and the technical skills are absolutely a part of that. But we spend a majority of the time on some of these foundational skills to really set up these SEs for long-term success. And really the focus is learning, be curious, connect with your peers, and have fun. So every week, the SEs learn something new and they get to present on that topic at the end of the week and make it their own and make it fun. We bring in speakers from a lot of different teams and also from our pods that we call Power of Different Communities. So we have a women's pod, a Black pod, veterans pod, disability pod. So there are a lot of opportunities for the SEs to get involved in the broader VMware community as well. So that is what the first 6 months looks like. And once they graduate out of that program, they move into different segments. Mostly it's our inside commercial teams. So they get a lot of experience working on a lot of different accounts and then move into field roles after that.
The comprehensiveness of the program is really incredible. I think a lot of companies sometimes focus more just on the product training. And it sounds like at VMware, you guys are really touching all of those pre-sales best practices, as well as, getting them really plugged into your organization with those pods. Would you say that that kind of well-roundedness of the program is what's made it been successful?
I would say absolutely. That's right. And that wasn't how the first iteration was. Over time, we've learned some of these lessons, and I'm hoping our audience out there take some nuggets from this as well. But that has been a huge part of why this program has been so successful for us.
Getting into those lessons learned, can you share? I think one of the things you mentioned to me before was that, you started this program before the pandemic and then had to pivot as well. And some of the lessons learned around there. Would love to know, what have you learned and what have you changed about the program?
So the training and enablement has been one of the biggest aspects that we've changed, going from the role-based training that we used to do to a very well-rounded training that's focused on some of the foundational aspects, like I mentioned. And then one of the other major evolutions of this program has been taking the feedback of the Academy SEs from the previous class. So every year they act as reverse mentors and share very candid feedback on what's worked well, what hasn't worked so well, and what can we do in the future to make this better. They are a big part of the next class of Academy SEs. Everything from the hiring process to being interview panelists to being buddies and mentors for the new class, involved in the day-to-day shadowing and training efforts. So that has been one of our biggest lessons learned, is to get our previous class of Academy SCs involved in the next class. And they've done some amazing things to make the program even better and a lot more fun for their peers, especially with the pandemic. We've all been remote. So they've done some creative things like Zoom happy hours or trivia, just fun ways for us to get connected even in this remote world.
I love that. Trivia. Is it ever pre-sales trivia?
We haven't tried that, but we need to.
No, that's great. Building relationships remotely can be very tricky, but it can be done. And honestly, I think those types of activities and bonding opportunities really make a difference, especially for individuals that are new to pre-sales and new to the organization. I would love to know, what are some example success stories of maybe some of the students that have gone through the program?
There has been a lot of success and growth we've seen in these individuals that have started as part of the Academy SC program. I would say some examples that come to mind is a few that started as non-traditional hires and professionals returning to work, even veterans that wouldn't have considered a solution engineering role before or even know about some of these roles before. And they've now gone on to become subject matter experts of the product. They are working on really big enterprise level Fortune 500 accounts as trusted advisors to these big global customers. Some of them have even moved into internal roles within the organization, like customer success and technical marketing. I would say that's the beauty of this program, is that they gain so many different customer facing skills that can be translated across the organization. It's been really fun to see the growth and success of these SEs.
I love that, seeing career changers have such a big impact in growing into really, impressive roles in the enterprise space. I'm curious, with your day to day, how do you interact with these students? Are you facilitating a lot of these sessions? Are you grading their presentations on Fridays? What does that look like for you?
The program has really grown from the start. So initially, yes, I was very involved in defining and iterating every single week. And now, it's grown as far as how many individuals we have every year. What we've done is we've really brought in the peers. So we brought in other SCs to work with him to come up with fun role-based scenarios for them to present on and grade them on. And then a lot of times I will come in to share my journey and then also watch some of these presentations. So it's been really fun. But I would say at this point, it's evolved to where it's kind of, being led by the Academy SEs of the previous years and the new managers that have taken on this program.
That's incredible to see the growth from being, very hands-on with it to now being able to, oversee all of the leaders that are running kind of the day-to-day of the program. I'm curious, what do you look for in incoming students when you're evaluating whether or not they're going to be a fit for this type of program?
Initially, we were looking for a lot of the technical skill set, cloud infrastructure skills and networking skills. And we still look for some of that, but we are very flexible. And the most important thing that we look for is culture fit. Are they a curious learner? Right? Are they someone that is collaborative? Because knowledge sharing and the culture of collaboration is very big at VMware. So we look for the cultural aspect as well. And are they open to learning? Are they customer facing, or can they be coached into that? So that's what we have been looking for the most part.
Would you say kind of reevaluating what you're looking for has also helped with, bringing in individuals from more underrepresented groups?
It absolutely has. And we've done a lot of effort to take a look at our job description, because like a lot of organizations, we have struggled with bringing diversity into the teams before. And this practice of going through launching an academy program and really looking at our job descriptions of, do we really need these skills, or are these skills that the individual can learn and coach once they start at our organization? It's been eye-opening, and it definitely helped us to hire folks with a lot of diversity, not just on the gender side, but ethnic as well. So yes, we have been able to bring in a lot of diversity into the academy program this way as well.
Diversity, I think, is so top of mind for a lot of organizations and I think pre-sales organizations because it tends to look like white male in most case scenarios. And so I love that that has been a positive impact of this program. How else has this program positively impacted your organization?
Two things come to mind. One is just seeing some amazing things from these academy SCs where they will see a gap and rather than bringing a problem, they have a very solution oriented mindset. So they'll come up with a script or something to solve that and bring it to us. So it just created this constant culture of innovation and working very close as a team to solve something. That has been really amazing to just see the culture evolve into one of knowledge sharing and collaboration. And I would say the other one is mentorship. A lot of these folks now have a mentor mindset where they only started a year back, but they already mentored to the previous class of academy SCs and already training them and making them feel comfortable with their role. So I would say it's really positively impacted our organization with that. And then finally, we spoke about diversity. So bringing diversity into the team and then also retention in a lot of ways, because there's so many opportunities for these SCs to get educated about all these different type of roles. And we've seen that SE is not everyone's cup of tea. So we've had folks that have moved into customer success and professional services and technical marketing even. So it allowed for folks to move internally and experience growth and move into these other roles internally. So we've been able to retain them.
That's amazing to hear. You know, retention has been something that I'm hearing a lot of hiring managers and pre-sales leaders talk about is, you know, struggling to find pre-sales talent and also struggling to retain pre-sales talent. Even if, you know, your folks are going to other positions within the company, I would still say that that's a massive success because they're bringing in all of that, you know, solution mindset, that training that they've gotten in that program to those other roles and are going to be effective and good counterparts to SEs in those other roles. Would you say that the majority of the folks that have gone through the program have stayed with VMware?
Yes, a lot of the folks have stayed within the organization, even if they're not on the SC team today. And we want folks to be happy and really, truly bring in their authentic self to work, right? So we want folks to be happy and be in roles that they truly enjoy.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up that, you know, being in pre-sales or in solution engineering is not necessarily for everyone. And sometimes it takes a little bit of exploring to figure that out. You know, it ultimately is a role that does require that technical mindset and curiosity while also those soft skills. One thing that we found with the Presales Academy is we've actually had a few people go through our program and then decide, you know, a customer facing role isn't for them. And it's unfortunate that they went through all of that in order to find out that that role wasn't a fit for them. Although I will say, you know, a lot of the training applies to other roles. So we've made some modification on our program to, you know, help students actually figure that out, get some more exposure and the ability to opt out sooner in deciding whether or not it's a fit for them, because we don't have the opportunity to just move them into, you know, a customer success program because we have only a pre-sales focused program right now. And so it has been a lesson learned for us. And, you know, there's so much that goes into a program as we've kind of already discussed, but what's your advice for individuals that are thinking about starting an academy or would like to start an academy at their own organization?
My biggest advice is just to do it. There is no perfect program out there. I know it sounds daunting. We spent a good 6 to 9 months of planning before we launched our very first program, but you don't have to do that. There are a lot of successful academy programs out there. So work with these different leaders, especially the pre-sales collective is such a great place to network with leaders and really take best practices from each of these individuals and programs So just get started. I would say, as you do that, deploy empathy. Meet these individuals where they are at, not just what the business or organization needs. And I say that because if you invest in coaching and development of these folks, the business results will just truly follow. That is our biggest learning. And that's my biggest advice is just do it and do it with empathy.
That's probably the best way we could end this episode. I love that. Just do it and do it with empathy. I think that, so many organizations are considering this, whether it's a full-on academy program or an associate level kind of ramp up role. I think that there's a lot of demand to build this type of program or a similar program at so many different organizations. And we're definitely seeing it pop up more and more. So I know our listeners have so many nuggets to take away here and just you sharing your experience at VMware. Akanksha, I know that you are about to be a mother of two, so you're gearing up for baby number 2. And we were just talking before the podcast about your plan and feeling comfortable passing on your responsibilities while you're gone. How do you feel about making that transition to be a mom of 2?
I feel very excited and great about it, actually. I think I've learned a few things myself from the first time around. And what I have learned is that it's actually a great opportunity for someone new on the team to rise and showcase their leadership capabilities and learn a lot. And I'm very humble and grateful that I have a team that I can trust that can do that. So I think it's just amazing that we have this great benefit from our organization for me to be able to take the maternity leave, and then 2, for someone to rise as a leader while I'm out and growing my family.
Well, we are so happy for you. Congratulations on your mother of 2. And I'll just say, as someone that used to be in pre-sales, that felt very isolated as the only woman in that role, to get to speak to you and hear about the amazing impact, what you've done at VMware and, your approach on mentoring and coaching others and the importance of career development and how you've played such a big role in helping others come behind you. And then also to be a mother while you do all of that. That's incredibly inspiring. And I think we need to share more stories like yours everywhere.
Thank you. It has been really great to speak with you, Maddie, and get to know you. And thank you for having me here.
Well, thank you for joining us on the podcast. We'll have to do another one another time.
Absolutely.
All right, Presales Collective, thanks for joining for another episode of the Presales Podcast. I don't know about you, but I am feeling so inspired by Akanksha's vision and ability to create such an impactful program at VMware. There's no doubt that a program like this requires a lot of resources, a lot of time, and even buy-in from leadership. But I believe that associate level roles and academy programs are going to be the answer for some of our biggest pain points within the profession when it comes to increasing diversity, retaining talent, and even finding talent. So I hope you walk away from this episode feeling a little bit inspired and hopefully with a few more tools in your toolkit to go introduce this idea to leadership or even start your own academy program. With that in mind, I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.